It's the Full Force News Burst, proudly brought to you by Battle Action Force, the Treasury editions. I am your host, Christopher McLeod, AKA Diagnostic 80. Now let's get into the news. Hello and welcome to the show. Yes, this is I, Christopher McLeod. I've already done that bit, so I don't have to redo it. Yes, hi. I'm just just received a notification there that we might be having some issues with the quality of the stream. My apologies if you suffer from any glitching or bad audio or what have you. It does look like there's a little bit of a internet issue. In any case, hello everyone. I hope you're all doing well on this Tuesday, October the 14th, 6:40, a classic time to go live. Yeah, we've got a little bit of news for you today, obviously. Yesterday evening, a kind of interesting leak popped out, but that's enough of me waking up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet. Yeah, no, an interesting leak kind of dripped out. Get it seen to, courtesy of, we have no idea really, but effectively a possible distributor leak in regards to what's it called? Super7 ReAction Plus. So we'll be talking about the possible leak of Wave 6 Reaction Plus, which is kind of fun, and also like there's some information to gonna get into there and kind of like try and maybe kind of like I don't know, maybe kind of like do some detective work on there as well. So we'll be doing that, and we're also going to be talking about the pre-order drop today from the classified series, and of course roll into our usual, you know, classified information listings, what's to come in the future and all that kind of good stuff. And you'll be happy to know I've updated all the listing graphics, not as in just the same graphics, just the information slightly changed, of course. Now, yeah, let's get on to it. Let's get into it then, starting with that Super7 news. Right then, let's get into this. So a kind of bit of information crept out. Like I think original information came from a distributor, and they had a list of 4 figures that were coming in the Reaction Plus line and how many they'd ordered and all that kind of stuff, right? So on that list were Arctic Cobra Commander movie, Black Cape, etc., etc. Arctic Scarlet, no, just Arctic Scarlet, which is cool. Arctic again, but Snake Eyes, but glow in the dark red, crystal poisoning, etc., etc. So probably more likely, let's just change images, probably more likely that very specific mass device feature that they've done already a bunch of different times. And I'm pretty sure they have anyway. Yeah, we got radioactive Snake Eyes with the Hermit, didn't we, for reaction, regular reaction. And I want to say it's been done. Has it been done at Ultimates level, or am I making that up? I'm not sure if it's been done at Ultimates level. I can't remember. Someone let me know in the comments. Either way, it's not something that's new. We've seen it before. I mean, the Classified have done it already to a degree. So it's probably going to be that at Reaction Plus kind of level, and a red glow, which is kind of fun. And so I'm assuming the mass device doesn't say mass device on there, but that would make a lot of sense. Arctic Scarlet makes sense from a movie perspective, but also from a comic perspective. And because they are delving quite deeply into the film at the moment, and Cobra Commander's called out Black Cape movie, etc., it makes me think that we are still talking about animation and the film, especially with Scarlet in mind, because Cobra Commander was actually said out loud. Now, the other weird one on there is Arctic Mara. Now, obviously, Mara we know as a character from the Sunbow, well, like one episode or a 2-parter. So we know Mara obviously from the Sunbow series, but Arctic Mara. Now, I think this is where the detective work comes in a little bit. I think there's just been a carryover typo from the other Arctic figures, if that makes sense. Because I don't really understand why or what the hell what an Arctic Mara would be, other than the Mara we know wearing a jacket, which wouldn't make any sense, would it really? So I'm going to just go out on a limb there and just assume they're talking about it's just Mara in general. And it could just be, like I said, could be just information sort of like not quite making it to to the right outcome for us to see with our eyes. So yeah, Arctic Scarlet, I'm assuming is going to be movie, but like I said, they could go with an Arctic Scarlet from the comic, right? So that's not beyond the realms of possibility. And again, it would be a nice little sort of I don't know, sort of mixing it up a little bit, because you've got a heavy Sunbow thing going on here, with, of course, Snake Eyes Master Device, Mara from, I forget the episode now, which is doing my head in. But anyway, you've got all those, and then to throw in like a comic Arctic Scarlet would be interesting. It would also be a bit mental too if they're doing all of these movie related Arctic characters and then not do a movie Arctic Scarlet. Even kind of, and like, I'm not even sure how different a movie Arctic Scarlet and a comic Arctic Scarlet really are. Memories of Mara, thanks GL. It kind of, the clue was in the name there, wasn't it? But thank you very much, I appreciate the assist. So yeah, so those are what look to be the Arctic Fatal Fluffy, says Max. They look to be what is the next kind of wave 6, as it were, of Reaction Plus. Now, it could be one of those little sort of bait and switch things, or it could be one of those, like, it could be early developmental information that is kind of snuck out that isn't really the same anymore, or it could be genuine. Because let's face it, with a lot of these leaks, I would say there isn't, it's there's no smoke without fire in a lot of places, right? It could be aquatic Mara. A few people have said that. Maybe it's aquatic. Quite a few of you have said that. I appreciate that, guys. But yeah, it could be a typo. The Arctic element could just be a carryover from the other figures that they're talking about. So it could just be like like a copy and paste, and then they forgot to remove the Arctic part. So it's all good. There's a lot of things this could be, but I'm assuming it's just going to be Mara. Yeah. So I think, heart of hearts, I think it's going to be Arctic movie Scarlet, Cobra Commander movie Cape, Mass Device radioactive Snake Eyes, and standard regular Mara from Memories of Mara, the Sunbow episode. So that's what I'm assuming. That is my assumption. And like I said before, it could be that this is not legit, and it could just be I'm not saying it's made up, but maybe like miscommunicated, or I don't know, could be anything, but I'm not going to say either way because I don't know. So at the moment it was all speculative, but like I said before, in the past these things do tend to have a way of just being what it is, for the most part, as I'd say, actually, from doing this show. Most of the leaks that you end up seeing and getting do actually lead to something. It used to be, obviously, back in the day, probably like a lot further back in the day, you'd get a lot of sort of like information that would come out but never really never happened, never went anywhere, didn't actually, nothing happened with it, and you just find out later that it was never actually that at all. But most recently, like, information has been one of those kind of currencies that people have been sort of like trading in to, in order to get better standing to do, like, news episodes and reveals and stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff. Who's my assumption? Thank you, Jamie Lynn. Another good one. I need Raven so bad. I'm not. Oh yeah, that's fine. I can say that. But yes, Stygian. Raven would be amazing, wouldn't she? Arctic Dreadnoks also Stygian. Yeah, indeed. Hello, White. Hello, Rodimus Power Toy Collector. It's like a Cookie Monster and a wave emojis every time. I can't remember what Scarlet looked like in the movie, but she also had an Arctic jacket in the Mass Device outside the Crystal Cave, says Michael. That is an image from the film on the top left there. But you've got a good point there, Michael. It doesn't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be movie Arctic Scarlet. What I meant was Sunbow Arctic Scarlet. But yeah, you could argue that, the fact that you've got Snake Eyes from the Mass Device, it wouldn't be, crazy to think that maybe they're doing a Snake Eyes Scarlet kind of pairing in this particular set of figures. So that's a very good point, Michael. And that's a good idea. I don't think there'll be that much difference between Scarlet though in the two different versions. I'll have to have a look. It's been a while since I've seen that, because I actually had to look. I had to actually get a reference for that Scarlet in the mass device. And yeah, because she's wearing the jacket before they go in the cave, right? Because there. Okay, so it's a different color. So the jacket that she wears in the mass device actually looks really cool. If I like this version of it, where it's like all like hooded up and like got the sexy cool visor goggle things on, and then obviously you see her sort of like, just kind of rocking it like that. So it's a lot lighter with the white fur, kind of like a grey jacket with a light fur kind of lining, and then the one in the movie is the tan version. So hey, I wouldn't be averse to them doing both redecos of that, one as the mass device Scarlet Winter and one as movie Scarlet in the tan, because I'm that ridiculous. I didn't even realize they're that different, but they are quite clearly. Anyway, that's pretty much that in terms of Super 7. What do you guys think? Do you think this is legit? I mean, like I said, I think with most of these, it's very, very rare that you just get in a load of stuff that someone's just trying to like get a bit of attention or whatever, because it's sort of come out not necessarily in a big kind of fashion. You know what I mean? It's not like someone's kind of dropped a massive video about it. It's like, it's literally like, a bit of information's kind of got shared about a little bit. So I don't know, like at all, but I would probably be willing to say that you're probably looking at Wave 6 at the end of the day. And if it isn't, then, it's one of those things that we can go back and kind of like go, okay, well, we can add this to the list of stuff that never actually happened. But like I said, for the most part, and from doing this for the time that I've been doing it, the leaks, for the most part, do hold water. Heavy water, in fact. That's another deep cut mass device joke. How about Dawn Moreno and Reaction Plus or the Skybound Joes? My ready is so body, says Stygian. That's a good shout. Doing something like a new character in the old style would be really, really cool. And I think Dawn Moreno would fit right in there. What else? So Scarlett had a similar outfit as Lady J in the Sunbow Tunes and movie. Yes, Danny, absolutely. Double up with Scarlet, I like it, says Snake Eyes. Well, you would think that, Snake Eyes. Michael says, so Classified has Flint and Lady J on an Arctic couples retreat, and Reaction Plus has Scarlet and Snake Eyes on one. Yeah. WJ says, I want a Raven Lady Pilot rejoin for the Sky Patrol Raven. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be really cool. A repainted Raven for the Sky. Although Sky Patrol, although technically she does rip the Cobra logo off her arm in that episode. She denounces Cobra at the end, doesn't she? So yes, she could be in the Sky Patrol. It's kind of interesting. It'd be really cool if they continued the Sunbow series and followed on some of these episodes to sort of make like a Where Are They Now sort of thing. Like, having to see like Raven maybe switch sides and become a Joe fighter pilot in the Sky Patrol would be freaking amazing. I'd be well into that. Even if it was a comic, I'd be well into that. I was really digging the Saturday Morning Adventures from IDW, and then just, not doing that anymore. That's a shame. Classified needs to tackle the Skybound Joe's so hard, says Stygian. I agree. Chris, how deep into Reaction Plus are you? Well, thanks to Super 7, fairly deep in it. The only wave I don't have is the first wave, I believe, but I've got everything else since, apart from this new wave. So maybe they've just decided against sending me stuff now. But yeah, thanks to Super 7, Reaction Plus, I've got quite a few of them, and I really like them. I think they're kind of fun. They were on my desk like all the time, and I moved them to a display segment, which is over there, which I can't show you because all my wires are hooked up, but it's over there, the little group of them. Falcone says the timing is what's sus to me. November release right after October release is weird. You say release though, this is a leak, so this is going to be well in advance of any sort of any sort of in hand or even, I mean, like distributors will often get like information to then make a decision on, are you going to buy it, sort of thing, retailers and what have you. So this is going to be one of those things where they would have this information well in advance. This isn't saying these figures are going to be out like next week or anything. But yeah, so and it's not beyond the realms of possibility to have this info really close. I mean, I remember, was it the first or second wave was leaked? Like like what was going to be in the lineup was leaked on, I think, BBTS. So it's not the first time a retailer or distributor or whoever has leaked information regarding the Reaction Plus line. At least BBTS had the audacity, but also respect for us, to post it on their website, to almost have pre-orders up before they were even available. But yeah, and I remember vividly knowing what the next wave was going to be. So it's like, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that that information is known to even retailers at this point. That's why I'm not like eye rolling at it necessarily. But again, we'll find. This is one of those things we'll find out. It's purely speculative right now until there's more like, concrete evidence. We'll just have to, keep it sort of like with that caveat of this is not confirmed yet. Jeremy says, where's my Arctic rock and roll? I don't have him. Joe says, just got on here, feel I missed some important info. Nah, not at all. Where is my Arctic bathing suit, Baroness? Says Stygian. That gave me like acid reflux saying that out loud. Max says, I wouldn't mind some Sigma 6 Reaction Plus scale figures. They had some good designs. Absolutely, Max. I think there's a lot of cool things that they could do with the O-ring line in regards to newer characters that never saw O-rings previously. And I think obviously Dawn Moreno, as we've already mentioned, makes a really good shout for that. And then Sigma 6, blooming extreme. There's loads of like characters in there that obviously never saw that sort of 3 3/4 action either. And then characters that we're getting like Mara, for example, who we've never seen before. Retro Roma says, Snake Eyes with mass device crystals, ? Diver Baroness with heavy water, another figure with other element, and boom, Super 7 releases mass device. You got a good point there, Retro. Absolutely. They could definitely do a mass device more practically than Classified could. W says, yes, she jumped size. That's why I want an O-ring version for Raven. Talking about there. Arctic Big Lob, says Neil. Absolutely. Mr. C joining Joe, says Falcone. Indeed, yes, Mr. C. Scott Skeen says, Kitty said. I must have said something funnily bad there before. Arctic Guillotine, says Stygian. I will give Super 7 credit. They are cranking these out, says White. Games Master and Coco, says Mark. Good shout. Hi, it's me, says hi. Hi, it's me. Hi, it's me. Steve says, with recent release of Cobra La figures across both Reaction Plus and Classified, fingers crossed we'll see a 3 3/4 Globulus soon. I like that thinking, Steve. Kind of like trying to see the patterns as well, because I mean they're quite clear, aren't they? In some cases, the Big Lob Pythona one, and then Big Lob and Pythona on the same weekend. you with this Ferrero Rocher, you're really spoiling us. All Scarlet O-ring figures are crummy and bad, so a good head model mold is needed, says Mark. Scott says, "Well, the well deep into Reaction Plus." I got it. Thank you. Kitty said, "Hello, Andrew." Mark says, "Globulus and Flight Pod." Yes. You don't mean Globulus in a trouble bubble, do you, Mark? You mean Globulus in his giant floating testicle creature. Stygian says, someone needs to do the Skybound Joe universe's figures. I know they borrow heavily from Classified, but not always. No, I definitely think there are some good options within Skybound to actually make as action figures. I think Risk is a good shout, and would make for a good figure. And I think a lot of people might dismiss Risk a little bit, in that he's still very new to the game, hasn't really been around very long. Same thing, just said differently, McLeod. But because of that, like, it may be a little bit sort of, well, if we're getting to get him, why are we not getting our Dawn Morenos and our you know, these and those. And that is an issue, isn't it, sometimes? But I think there are some really good character designs within Skybound that I think they could do a really good job within the classified series, and O-Ring Super 7 too. Reaction Plus. Diecast says, I want more Marvel comic figures, also less of the cartoony look. Yeah, so there was, you know, back in the day when they first came out with Reaction, they were leaning heavily into the comic. They really were. We had Quinn. We had a lot of, like, you know, Snake Eyes issue 21 sort of stuff. A lot of silent issue kind of like nods. And then we also had on the side of that, we also had Sunbow stuff as well. But early on, it did feel like they were sort of mixing it up a little bit. And now it just seems to be, and I think this is really down to the fact that the cartoon kind of like versions, or these particular characters, these Sunbow characters, probably did better in terms of sales. And that could be down to the fact that the cartoon may have been more widely, you know, viewed and seen from a casual market, whereas comics, you really are going out of your way to get those comics, buy them, read them, and so on and so forth. So maybe it has something to do with that, and that is sort of like the unfortunate kind of byproduct of doing specific characters that people recognize from their youth. And that just, it's not, that's not scientifically based in any way, shape, or form. It's really just a possibility as to why that could be the case. But Diecast, yeah, I'd like to see more comic characters in this, definitely. Danny says, love to see a Lady J in her wetsuit from Spell of the Siren. Yeah, it'd be cool. Mark says the comic nods were also driven into the ground for 20 years or so anyway by Hasbro. Yeah. Neil says Mantenna looks hilarious. I haven't seen Mantenna. You mean like the new? Is there a new figure out for Moti, or in general? Do you mean? Jamie Lynn? Yeah, because if you're just saying in general, Mantenna does look hilarious. Jamie Lynn Park says, random question. Now that Reaction Plus is off to the races, do you think a Cobra Mothership would fare any better? I have to, if I'm being honest, I don't think it does, Jamie Lynn, but not for the reasons of the Reaction Plus line not being a hit, but from the perspective of how much would that cost now at this moment, and nobody would be able to afford it or find the space for it. When you've got Classified churning out what they're churning out in HasLabs and now made to order going forward for one particular vehicle, then, and I don't mean going forward and not doing HasLabs, by the way, I want to make that very clear. As far as we're aware, HasLabs is still going to be going forward for Classified. There was, it felt like a weird, one of those like weird rumors that was going around, like over NYCC, that I was kind of like really trying carefully to kind of put to bed, because it was like, oh, this means that they're not doing HasLabs anymore. And it's like, no, it doesn't. It just means they're adding to what they're already doing. Trust me, they ain't getting rid of HasLabs. In any case, that said, Mantenna Masterverse pre-order now available. Thank you, Neil. Mantenna looks fabulous, says Diecast Nick. But yeah, in terms of Jamie Lynn's point about the mothership, I cannot see that surviving now better in any way, shape, or form better than it was before, because we are in a worse position from like individual collector perspective. We're in worse positions now. Everything's gone up price wise. Space has diminished in that time for a lot of people, and yeah, I know for a large group of people it would be a case of just selling stuff to make way for stuff, but I think you're already fighting a losing battle. It seems like at the moment, and I'm not trying to antagonize anybody here, right? But with the way I look at it, based on things like, and this could just be my target audience, okay, and I totally understand that, but from my perspective, when I'm looking at you know, numbers, what videos, certain particular videos do, what other videos, you know, don't seem to do. This video, for example, will not hit anywhere near the numbers that any of my previous Classified news bursts have hit, right? So what I'm seeing is a very big sort of sway in the kind of collector market where 6-inch is kind of king, right? That's what it feels like to me. And I'm not just saying that because I like to, I'm only collecting classified, because I really do like what, Super 7 are putting out and other companies. But when I look at the numbers, it looks to me like the 6-inch has got a lot of the market share, right? Like a lot of it. A lot of the audience for G.I. Joe has gone kind of mad pants for classified. And you could argue that point, but I don't think you'd really, I'm not sure if it's worth arguing. It just seems to like fact in a sense. And then, so immediately with the O-ring, the Reaction Plus, I feel like it's like starting at a disadvantage. And I think, you're having to like, you're not only, you're trying to convince maybe completionists is a difficult thing nowadays. Yeah, a lot of people were saying like they've had to bail from it, they can't do it anymore. Out of shelf space, the same. There's no way I could be a completionist of anything, like a brand, for example. And I used to collect Star Wars, Turtles, Blimmin, GI Joe. I still do collect GI Joe, but you know what I mean. But like all of it, and anything that came out that I was like remotely interested in or like attached to in any way, shape, or form as a child, Thundercats, He-Man, whatever it was, I would be all over that crap. And then it got to the point where I couldn't even like, I started to feel the burn with the Turtles franchise. TMNT or TMHT, if you're in the UK, got into such a mental situation with licensing where there were like 4 companies doing like 12-inch figures. There were like multiple companies doing the same scales. And I was trying to get all of it. And it was just mental. And I feel like I unfortunately had to jump off at a time where you really got some of the most beautiful figures, especially with like NECA and Super 7 churning out some absolute bangers. In any case, yeah, you're having to at this point right now that we're in, a lot of people are having to pick and choose, just as all the prices are rocketing sky high. And that sort of segues that sort of segues me into the G.I. Joe Classified series pre-orders that came out today. And that kind of works quite nicely, doesn't it? Because we've just been talking pretty directly about this sort of, like difference between the 6 and the 3 3/4 sort of scales. And as I was kind of getting at before, I just don't think the mothership would do as well or would do any better now than it did before, just based on all those other things. I could be wrong though. Like again, this is really just my opinion at the end of the day, and you're absolutely well within your rights to disagree with me for 100%. Mark says the Cobra mothership was too pricey and operated clearly as a kid's toy. Put it on the floor. WJ says a Rise Pencil or Rise Baroness as Ghost ? Yeah, that'd be dope. I love that scene. Ooh, that's really cool, that one. And you could get the tomb as well that you could put Mainframe and Beachhead inside. I need the Viper, the Window Viper in Reaction Plus, says Stygian. Mark says if they did dip into a vehicle, something small might be the way to go. I really thought, Mark, when Super 7 got the license, they were going to delve into some of the quirkier things like Satin's van and the band, the Bongo the Balloon Bear and the van, mainly vans, stuff like that. Things that you just, you haven't seen before. And one of the main things I thought they would have done an absolute like menace with would have been a 3 3/4 Aspid. If they had done that, if they'd done an Aspid Cobra transport helicopter for the 3 3/4 line and launched the Reaction Plus at the same time alongside it, hot diggity dumplings, that would have sold, because it wouldn't have been as ridiculously large. It still would have been a large size vehicle, but like you're not talking classified scale. So, and you're not talking mothership. So yeah, I think if they'd have done the Aspid, I'd have. There's no way I'd have been able to miss that. That is like a lot of GI Joe fans sort of like main want when it comes to things that have never been done before. Jason Battaglia says, I don't Super 7 has the faith as a company compared to Hasbro. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, exactly. They can't just go, let's just drop tons and tons on this because we're a multi-billion-dollar company. It's not the same thing, is it? Not, and to be honest, Hasbro can't even do that at the moment. Like, they're not even in a position to be just doing what they want to do and scrapping stuff left, right, and center like they have done in the past. They're having to be careful as well. But yeah, you're right. Super 7 certainly don't have that sort of like, yeah, let's just drop it and see what happens. I mean, yeah. Badwell says, I want the Viper in classified as a deluxe with the bucket sponges and a whole array of squeegees, maybe a phone too. Amazing. Anyway, sorry, I didn't get to all your comments, guys, but I did want to talk about the pre-orders for today. So these obviously dropped at 1 p.m. Eastern, which was nice and easy one. This one, wasn't it? No, like, there wasn't a lot of pressure. There wasn't a lot of like, oh, it's all exclusive and you have to buy it from 7 different places and it's all, it's going to be gone in 30 seconds, which is the follow-up to Gone in 60 Seconds. I don't know where they are now. It's like Fast and Furious. They're like negative time now. But yes, so these dropped at 1 p.m. Wasn't a big kind of like horrible pit in my stomach sort of situation. No, this was nice and easy peasy lemon squeezy, because obviously they were available everywhere. Now the prices have gone up. That's the case, and it does look like some of the older things, so like some of the older items on Pulse, have also gone up in price. It's like the tariffs sort of costs is now being applied to things retroactively. There are a couple of things I noticed. Sci-fi was still $24.99, which I couldn't get my head round. Maybe that's changed now, but a lot of the other ones went up to 27. Grim Viper, for example, which again, that's, if you're gonna crank one up and bring one and keep one the same, maybe switch Sci-Fi and the Grim Viper around just so that people can army build. That said, it does look like that's not going to be. Well, the prices aren't going down again, are they? They'll only go up in the future. So we'll only be looking at $40 figures in about 5 years' time, or maybe at the end of this month, the way things are going. Anyway, so yeah, just a heads up on that. It really looks like whenever I see the Mole Rat Stage 2, it always looks like they've been hit in the face with like a sniper shot and their blood is like purple. That's what it looks. It just looks like they've been hit, like, kind of thing. So it just kind of, I don't know why that makes me laugh. That's quite dark, but you know what I mean. I wish there weren't 2 army builders in a single wave, says Max. Yeah, it can get very expensive, this hobby. Although you say that, but not too long ago we had a retro wave and a regular wave and a deluxe figure that could have been described as a what's the word, a troop builder, all within like weeks of each other. And it's like, yeah, this is making things very difficult to do what you were doing before, because I do get that. They've now clearly they've moved up to 5-figure waves again, because we started with a wave of, what was it? Snake Eyes was the deluxe. He was part of the wave to a degree, but he was a separate deluxe exclusive. And it was what? Destro, Duke. Well, actually, no, we had Snake Eyes. So we had retail Snake Eyes, but did he come out a bit later? I don't recall. I think it was like a wave that was like Destro, Duke, Scarlet, and Roadblock. Is that right? And then Snake Eyes was the deluxe, and then they redid him as a kind of retail version later. I think that's right. So yeah, we had that to start with, and then it was just whatever number they picked out of a hat. It felt like it was like, oh, we've got 2 figures here and 1 figure here and like a few figures here, and then it went all the way up to 5 figures for like 1-2 waves or something. It didn't feel like a lot. Then it came down to, I want to say, 3-figure waves, and then we did 4, and now we're back to 5. 4 was the longest hold we had on mainline figure waves, but it's been ridiculous. It's been up and down like absolute crazy, and now we're on the up somehow. I don't get it. In any case, 5-figure waves now going forward. I'm missing comments, sorry. Memories of Mara is an excellent episode as well, says Mark. Yes, it is. Joe says, I actually had an easy time with pre-orders on the classified Joes this morning. I was on pulse 5 minutes before they went up and everything I wanted. Good work. I was half expecting an Aspid as well, says Jamie Lynn, for the 3 3/4. Yeah, that would have been great, I think. Stranger Things released a 4-inch scale van today. Good for Cobra Tele Vipers. Oh, that's a good shout, Max. Oh, I might have to look at that. That's pretty cool. But it's a 4-inch scale one, right? Yeah, that would they'd be squeezing in. My Televipers would be squeezing into that because they're 6 inches. Jason just says I'm absolutely correct. I don't know what about, but I'll take it. Bad Wolf Media says I love most of the figures in this new wave, but looking at them line up in my order history again against sci-fi mainframe and wetsuit, there's just no comparison in my book. Mark says memory. Yep, done that one. I wish there weren't two. Done that one. Sorry. Heights Me says I grabbed Big Lob, Hit and Run, and Lifeline, but Night Viper is begging to come along too. Oh yeah, you've got to get Night Viper. Bad Wolf says, speaking of vehicle options, how in the hell are we nearly 6 years into the classified line and still don't have a Cobra Asp? Put the MMS behind the hiss. Give us an Asp for the Stinger. I like that thought, Bad Wolf. I will say though, my Stinger with the MMS, love it. It's one of my favorite things. Like such a crap ton of missiles, isn't it? Absolute overkill. Classified overkill confirmed. Heights Me says, when you say retroactively, does that apply to already ordered items? No. As in, like, if you want to order anything going forward, if you've already paid for it and bought it and pre-ordered it and you're waiting for it to come in, then it should be the same when you come to pay for it than when you ordered, because there's a legal issue with that, I believe. I will double check that now you've mentioned it though. I'm going to go on my order history and go, they better not have done that. No, so I think retroactively they've gone up if you want to purchase them going forward. Jeremy says Snake Eyes was 00 and 02. Yes. Mark says I kind of want Big Lob even though I'm mostly out on classified. Per EPX says, or Per X or Per PX says, considering the investment Super7 already has into the Cobra mothership, do you think they will revisit it and just make it a made-to-order campaign a la Hasbro? That way they can get something back versus nothing. I think that's not a bad shout with the made-to-order version of it. Yes. It would be the same situation, though. Like, they could try it and see if it would work, but effectively, at the end of the day, it's the same problem. Can we afford it? Do we have the space for it? Probably not, with all the other priorities going on. So I think what I'm saying is I don't think it matters how you really dress it up either, but it might be something they consider doing in the future when maybe things level out a little bit, possibly. Is the Cobra one the HMS? I can't recall. I didn't get the Cobra one. Yes, it is an HMS, I believe. Bad Wolf Media. Like a heat seek missile system, isn't it, or something? Heights Me says, oh, Asp, what a shape. Also a death trap. Yep. But I do kind of want one. Tim says, I thought I would only get Lifeline, but ended up grabbing all of them aside from Big Lob, Candy Mountain Man. Big Rock, Candy Mountain Man. Hi, it's me. Thanks, Chris. I was about to look through all my order history. Have a look anyway, just in case. Or just pick one that you know you got a while back that has gone up, and then you'll see if that's the case. But I don't think they can charge you one price and then up front and then change it later without there being a legal issue with that. Now, I'm only saying that without anything else based on it, but I believe it is only after the fact that they're applying this, and then if you're buying it now in stock, that's what you're going to have to pay for it, I believe. Could be wrong though. Check your order history. It's always worth doing. I'm not the knower of all things by any means. Some folks on TFW 2005 have reported price increases to existing pre-orders. Well, there you go, Michael. I mean, there you go. Hi, it's me. Thank you, Michael, for that. So maybe it is happening. The other thing is, if it is a legal issue at that point, then they have definitely got that in their small print. It's covered. Trust me. They wouldn't do it if they weren't covered by it. Their lawyers are checking this stuff constantly. So yeah, there's nothing you'd be able to do other than cancel your order at the end of the day. And that's probably what they'll look at. How they'll look at it. Like, they'll probably take the hit on people canceling orders rather than just leaving it, not expecting it. Read the Window Viper, says Ed F. Cold Lither Maid. I can see a con exclusive deluxe pack after Cobra La is finished with a Window Viper. That'd be amazing. Bad Wolf Media, I'd be interested to know if that's true because there becomes a legal contract issue in that case. Yep. Wasn't Super7 Mothership timing though? Yes, Cropstar Entertainment, but also do you think the timing is better now? And I kind of said that before as well. Like, if they weren't in a position, if people weren't in a position to back it then, knowing that Reaction Plus was actually happening and was actually being launched by the mothership with those O-ring Vipers, then I don't know what difference it would make now. It would actually probably be worse timing to do it now with everything else that's going on. The amount of pre-orders and stuff that are out already for, and out like constantly with that stuff. I think maybe if they found another spot, like I said, when things like settle down, maybe they could approach it again. But I personally think it would be a bit of flogging a dead horse sort of situation at that point. Shipping and tariffs now is not ideal for a Cobra Mothership campaign. It's only going to be money, and folks already said the price was too high. Who's Noah Full Things? Brilliant. Thank you, Scott, for that. Danny says, really love this new classified wave. Can't wait for figures like Cutter, Repeater, Ambush, Pathfinder, Widescope, and Lamont. Yes, Danny. Repeater. Oh, why? Let's get Repeater in here, please, because I want that Steadicam gun. Be so good. And another animal in Lamont, please. Yeah. Michael Bird says, it's merely anecdotal, so who knows, but Pulse is a poop show at the best of times, indeed. Andrew says, just ordered all 5 just now. See, easy peasy lemon squeezy. You don't get that on any other G.I. Joe live streams, do you? People saying easy peasy lemon squeezy. Well, you do with me. You do with Measy. Felix says, we are going to need a classified JAG lawyer action figure to deal with all these tariff issues. Felix, there is one in the Real American Hero kind of most recent-ish issue sort of scenario. We do have a lawyer character, don't we? That'd be great, actually. We do, actually. I kind of want a couple of new characters with Joe. I want like some out of a Real American Hero, some out of, stuff that's just out of nowhere, out of Lenny's mad mind. I want some extra new stuff because like Mole Rat's awesome. Yeah, I love it as an idea. I think they look really good. I really love the Mole Rat version 1 is one of my favorite kind of figures in the line. And, I really like when new things are done. It's different when you kind of do something like a character that's never been in Night Force before is fun and everything, but it's not the same level as churning out a brand new character. So I want to see a new character, at least one soon. I want to see a new character in the line and within the next 2 waves is what I want to see personally. And Repeater, yes. Michael says, price increase definitely impacted the number I pre-ordered today. Wanted 2 army build Night Vipers, but price restored my sanity. It's a pretty quick leveler, isn't it? Hi, it's me, Repeater, indeed. Tim Popkid says, seconding Cutter in my top 3 once. Cutter's a great figure. I think a whale isn't off the table for a HasLab. It would be a big table though, wouldn't it? Michael says, I pre-ordered the whole wave and a second Night Viper to paint up as a Heli Viper. Now we're talking. Now we are talking. Chris G, my pastor says, easy peasy lemon squeezy all the time. Well, there you go, Chris G. I am your new pastor. R Sharp says, I pre-ordered today, so the price is locked in just in case they go up in price again. RS Seattle says, will 2026 be the year we get Energon Universe comic figures? I bloody hope so. We'll be looking at the 26 listings in a second, but to be fair, we don't know what so many of them are. There could definitely be some sort of Energon Universe character in there. You never know. Max says, Joe's a missing General Howe from Sunbow or Sparks, indeed. New character in every second or third wave would be cool. Yeah, I'm not saying like every single wave, but I definitely want to see something completely brand new brought into the fold. Wolf Spider was a good kind of thing, as a cool thing, but knowing the anecdotal, information behind that character, that it started off as a generic troop builder for the Joe's Night Force team, and they thought it looked so cool that they decided to give it a character name, is not the same as designing a character from the ground up, is it? So I'd like to see, you know, a head sculpt for one, and stuff like that. As much as, and again, I will say this, I really love Wolf Spider, a really cool figure, by the way. But I definitely want something to infuse the new classified line with something completely brand new. And again, we're looking at a character on the screen at the moment that is brand new to the line in the Mole Rat, just a different version of it, of course. So, you know, it's not something that they're averse to doing at all. But yeah, I think I just want a new Joe in the lineup. I want something a little bit different. Give me a new Joe, please. With Hasbro moving to Boston, Cutter has got to be a lock, says Scott. He should be now. But Bad Wolf Media, lawyers from the comics would be feds, right? Extensive Enterprise employees. That'd be cool. Thresher would be nice, Andrew, indeed. Pre-ordered the 5. I'll wait till release and see if I want more Mole Rats and Night Vipers after having them, says Twisted. I'm sort of looking at it in a similar way. I did a one of everything. And in regards to Night, you know, into troop building, I sort of keep my options open if I see it in like, you know, like on like, you know, in the future, either on like, if they kind of come back into stock somewhere, or if they're in like a GameStop or something, like that is where I'll kind of get like the odd one or two here or there. Do you think we could see a retro cardback shooter to finish off the OG 13, Jeff? I think that would be kind of cool. And I don't see anything. I think that would be kind of actually a really good shout, because it's an easy, you know, well, not necessarily easy repaint, but because you'd kind of want to do a very close to sort of like the OG 13 kind of like gear, like the Steeler short fuse sort of kind of vibe. Redeco, of course, in the green. But yeah, I think a shooter on retro card would be awesome. Cutter is part of the whale, and getting him outside that kills the vehicle being made. Indeed, Max. Jason says, would love to see more Action Force characters introduced. Me too, actually. I'd love to see like a Eagle or a Skip, or what else would I like to see? Oh, do you know what I'd love to see from the Palatoy era? I'd love to see from the comics, from the Battle Action Force comics. I'd love to see the underwater Red Shadow Troopers, which I call Red Herrings, because I thought that was really clever and funny, and also a little bit goofy. But yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, in one of the earlier issues, I think one of like Sea Fury, it might have been, they get attacked by a bunch of a kind of Red Shadows frogmen, and they look so awesome. Really, really cool. So yeah, I'd like to see that personally. I ordered everything but the Mole Rat, got 3 Night Vipers orders. Well, the price hurts, but I had to do it, says Joe. Would love to see the custom originals Lenny has designed or made prototypes of, says Twisted. Yeah, he kind of kit bashes, doesn't he? Joe says, I want to see more Iron Grenadier figures. Have I seen any more Iron Grenadier? All I'll say to that, Joe, is you're probably going to see more Iron Grenadier stuff for sure. Scott, I'd love to see a female Arctic soldier that goes with the polar battle bear. That'd be cool. Felix, I just ordered Hit and Run Big Lob and a Night Viper. Now we wait and wait. And well, the way it's going, Felix, we don't wait at all anymore. It's ridiculous. Jamie Lynn, I feel the same way about Wolf Spider and new characters. There are just so many that whine whenever anything new is done. A lot of collectors seem to just want an enlarged duplicate of the Real American Hero line. I don't really understand it, because it's like the line's really popular and it's 5 years in. Like, we're getting into the 6th year soon of classified, which I don't think anybody expected. Did anyone expect us to be looking at this in 2026 and going, here's the line plan? Like, I certainly didn't think it was going to go this long. I thought this was like a 1 or 2 year thing, and then some, you know, it would be done. And not because I didn't like the quality of it, but just the idea prior to its release, I was like, I'm interested and I can't wait to see it. But yeah, because I think I still had like 1 foot in 4-inch, you know, like I still had 1 foot in the kind of modern 4-inch sort of scale. And I'd always wanted to see what, like, and also wanted to experience what the 6-inch figures would be like for Joe. And I even said to myself beforehand, I want to say before, when we knew there was a 6-inch line coming, but we hadn't seen anything prior to the leaks and the oh god, what's it called? Toy Fair. Prior to Toy Fair, and we knew that we had a 6-inch line on the horizon. I was interested, but I didn't think I'd be all in on it. I thought I'd be getting just the odd one here or there, and like that. That was genuinely my mindset. And then when the classified series came out, I was like, oh no, this is amazing. And it really kind of changed my mind about what it could be. I think, and again, no disrespect to anyone who customizes, or used to customize 6-inch figures to make them Joes, but I used to see the customers and be like, yeah, these are cool, but I don't think I need them. And yet, when the classified series came out, I was like, oh no, I do need this. And yeah, I just kind of, it was one of those things where I just wasn't sure until I saw it, and then that experience was like, oh no, this is something cool. So yeah, I get why people want to see their favorite figures done, and if they haven't had their favorite figures done at a certain point, it gets frustrating. I understand it, but guys, think how I feel. My favorite figure is friggin' Lightfoot. I ain't ever seeing him. I don't know. I'd love it if they did him, but I don't know if he's a little bit too out there. Danny says, I'd love to see what Lenny will come up with for a Deep Six version 1. Yeah, me too. Same Time Toys, I'm late, but I made it. Sorry, Same Time. Got all the information out already. Brian Hoffman says, Shooter is just a repaint of Lady J. Okay. Scott says, I'm talking about doing a special figure for the retro card. I'm not sure what that is in response to. Scott says, I call the red herrings, but that's misleading. Brilliant. Michael says, red herrings is clever. Thank you. RS Seattle says, 2026 predictions: Thunder Machine and Thresher, Baroness and Mass Device blue outfit, Arctic Night Creepers, IG Destro, Stiletto character, not the vehicle. Okay, I'll not pick this apart because I really love this list, by the way. This is an awesome list, RS Seattle, for many different reasons. One, there's some really cool sort of I wouldn't say stretches, but Thunder Machine and Thrasher are I think very popular, and I think would do really well in sort of a made to order sort of scenario. So maybe that's where we see it in the future. I don't necessarily think we'll see it. Well, I don't know actually. It's so popular. I want the Thunder Machine, trust me, and Thrasher, but it's that fact of it being in a weird sort of limbo space at the moment. But yeah, I would suggest that a made to order model might work well for that. Baroness and Mass Device Blue is a really good shout because obviously we've kind of seen that Baroness in the Rattler. It would just be a repaint scenario with a few new accessories. So I'm massive agreement. I think Baroness and Mass Device Blue is a great shout for 2026. Certainly in the near future. Arctic Night Creepers is such a beautiful shout for so many reasons. One, they're banging. The Arctic Night Creepers are freaking awesome. And one, it would add to all the Arctic stuff. Two, that the repaint of the Night Creeper, because that Night Creeper's phenomenal as well. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Add to the Arctic crew, utilize that Night Creeper, and give him a cape. Give him a little a cape as well, because that'd be so good. Yeah, I'm with you. Arctic Night Creepers for the win. IG Destro is a very good shout. I can't see them holding Iron Grenadiers Destro for much longer. I think 2026 is a good shout for IG Destro. Stiletto is another really nice sort of deep cut. And if you're a fan from, prior to the 6-inch, prior to Classified, sort of in that sort of modern 4-inch phase, Stiletto was a character, a fan vote character from Kindle Worlds. And yeah, sorry, I nearly blacked out there. But Stiletto is made as a figure in the 4-inch line in the 50th anniversary, I want to say. So yeah, really cool. And Stiletto, she looks really cool as well, and I think would be a great character to add to Classified series. A really interesting, eclectic, varied, Some of it's really highly practical, like I can see it happening for sure, like Baroness, and some of it's like just nice little solid deep cuts that don't get talked about very often. Arctic Night Creepers and Stiletto, love it. I love it. Felix says funny and goofy. No way, not a problem. Max says Retro Steeler would be a Sunbow redeco question mark. Retro Steeler would be. We've had Retro Steeler, Max. Oh, Retro. What am I talking about? Retro Steeler. I see what you're saying. Would be a Sunbow redeco question mark. I don't know if they did a Retro Steeler. I don't know what they would do necessarily, though. I think he might. I don't know. That's an interesting one. Now that we have Legacy Police, are we getting the Dreadnoks in police gear and vehicle? That would be really awesome, Twisted. A bit of a Worlds Without End nod. Flying Grenadiers, we need IG Destro and the Sergeant Major. Yes, we do. We also need Voltar and Annihilators, Targats, Undertows. Any others? Yeah, there's loads more, but the regular Iron Grenadier would be nice. I would love to see Super7 mix up in the Reaction Plus line, something not a single carded figure. They have done a few nice multi-packs in the past, but only in the 5-point of articulation reaction line, says the Canadian Gothics YouTube channel. Mark says Metalhead's Granny classified or Reaction Plus. No thanks, Mark. You did a lol at the end of it, but that's fine. The demand is, I think Super7 could get away with it, but they probably wouldn't sell many. The demand is there for Super7 O-rings. Time to go nuts, says the Canadian Gothics YouTube channel. Chris G, I didn't think world would be here. I didn't think the world would be here in 2026. Good point. Brian Hoffman still might not be. Brian Hoffman, I didn't expect to be coming up on figure 200. I know. Heights Me says, Chris, the line is dead as of 2023. I don't know where people get this from, honestly. Bad Wolf Media says that's exactly why they changed from the updated versions. The classified line started with people complained that it wasn't exactly the same as the 82 line. Yeah, for sure. If they hadn't gone to the Real American Hero, the line would have died, says Same Time Toys. Yeah, do you know what? I don't think it would have died as much as I think it kind of took a development direction that I think was what I think everyone really wanted at the end of the day. And I think it naturally happened. And I say naturally, I'm not saying like I'm also including fan feedback in that natural development, because that's happened, especially at this day and age. That is, if you see a lot of feedback saying something, you're producing something for those fans, then it's sort of like, we kind of have to really follow that direction a little bit. It was sort of forced, wasn't it? There was no real what's the word? There was no real like not quite sure what I'm trying to say here, but I will bring up the fact that they were doing really, like, the line was doing really well no matter what. But I do agree with you. I think the fans definitely welcomed the change from like that kind of like extreme look to a sort of more, I say grounded, but you know what I mean? A more sort of like historically branded kind of look. Mamba Men would be a cool Action Force deep cut. Yeah, Jason, it would. Michael Bird, we've seen so many reboots come and go. Classified was always a long shot. True. Deep Lore cuts for any line would be Fun School and Bronze Bombers. Easy recolor. Only got Secret Service Snake Eyes. Yes, that's true, W. Edward says, I was the same way. RS Seattle says, Shooter only uses Lady J's arms. Legs are movie Scarlet. New torso and head, shins and feet. Thank you, RS Seattle. Danny Townsend said, do you think we'll ever get Ivy or Raven for classified figures? I'd love to see, for goodness sake, a male and female 2-pack for Range Vipers, Skullbuster and Ivy. Just that, do it. For Raven, I think you're better off holding Raven for a Night Raven HasLab. I think a Night Raven can be done. It'd be massive, but who cares? At this point, who gives a crap? Everything's massive. Marnius28 says, my Hawk, MMS, Budo, Slaughter and Mercer and Desert Scorpions all arrived at my local shop today. It was a very expensive day for me. Marnius, they've literally, they all seem to come at the same time. It's been mental. Snake Armor, MMS. The Defense Post with the Steel Core Sentry is here already. Yeah. Going to be unboxing that bad boy at some point. Desert Scorpions, Budo, well, the Firefighter's an older one, but the retro figures, Flint and Covergirl and Televiper, Slaughter and Mercer, Slice and Dice, and not to mention Cobra Commander Battle Armor, Monkey Wrench, Snake Eyes version 4, Pythona, Crystal Ball. I mean, it's just absolutely, I'm just naming all of the figures ever, but it's just been absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. Classified still leans too heavily into a real American hero, but the line needs to grow with new characters and designs. I think they should definitely do it. Whining aside, get some new stuff in there. It's not going to hurt. If you're doing 5-figure waves, you'll be all right. Lightfoot confirmed. Chris is trying the misdirection thing. Genuinely, Bad Wolf. I would be screaming it from the rooftops. I was looking at the Bad Wolf on the screen and said wolf tops for some reason. Jamie Lynn Parks. I'm waiting for Lightfoot as well. I don't think he's that far fetched. Ed says I forgot all about Lightfoot. The difference between these responses regarding Lightfoot are quite funny. Anyway, sorry guys, I'm not going to be able to get to all the comments. I'm going to be here for months otherwise. It wasn't the word I was looking for, Scott. I was trying organic. You said I get what you're saying. I mean, I was looking. I didn't know what I was trying to say. Legitimate, like the point I was trying to make. But no, yeah, you're right. And in the same way that I was saying natural kind of development. It wasn't an organic one necessarily, but it was definitely a development that happened. It wasn't like straight away. It wasn't like all of a sudden Flint and Jay look exactly how they did in 1980. No, it was over a few waves and things were changed and certain things were kind of, incorporated. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I think Snake Supreme Cobra Commander is phenomenal. And what a great, cool, new sort of vibey thing to do early on in the line, I think where a lot of the issues arose with the early sort of, what's the word? The early sort of designs and the early figures was the budget they were working with, honestly. Like, it's mental how much that's changed over the years. And it hasn't even gone up dramatically either. Pythona and a pile of Cobra divers showed up today. I know, Paul. The divers are coming as well. Twisted says, no better time to create an Arctic force on both sides. Indeed. Max says, the last month of orders coming in has been the wolf walking down the pain stick corridor in Star Trek. Sorry, it took me ages to work that out. Chris G said, well over 100 viewers, though, out this new burst is good numbers. Yeah, there you go. It is now that I'm talking classified. When I started and the screen was showing Super 7, it was well under 100. And it's only crept over since I've been talking classified. Genuinely, I see this. I see the patterns. Ordered all 5 and an extra Python from Pulse. Nice. An extra Python. Scott says, I still would love to see Pythona, I'm assuming. Yeah, that must be a Pythona. I still would love to see some of the original classified designs in figure form. Yeah, the stuff that never came out, you mean, Scott? Like Yakuza Storm Shadow and so on and so forth, yeah? Between these Joes and another line, the wallet was like, oof, Sean, mate. If you're collecting multiple lines, I feel for you. And I know a lot of you guys are, but I'm classified only because it's just, I would not survive. Max says, reminder, like, hype, and subscribe. Thank you, Max. Yes. If you're watching, hit a like on the old video if you'd like, please. And actually, while we're here, let's have a quick message from our sponsor, but I will be right back to talk all the other bits and pieces, including leaked listings. Yes, get yours today. The Battle Action Force Deluxe Treasury editions available at TotalToyBooks.com in the UK and Europe, and Skeletron.com in the US. Repping Skeletron always. Now, Hasbro Pulse, aka Hasbro, aka the G.I. Joe brand team, will be back very soon, in actual fact, 11 days' time at MCM Comic Con in London. They'll be doing another panel, which means more reveals, more things, more stuffs. Give me a break, eh? And we're getting a little bit closer to non-premium members being able to order Pythona as well, which will be nice for everyone. And then following that, almost immediately on the 29th of October, is LucaCon, where we haven't had any more information from that yet as to what Hasbro's plans are. They haven't done one of these jobs yet, but it would be interesting to see what their plans are for LucaCon and if they have even more stuff to reveal. Because I know they're kind of like spreading it out a bit to kind of reveal some things over the different cons. So it's going to be a busy end to October, is all I'm saying. Anywho, so that's happening, and there you go. Now, leak listings 2025 is almost all but done. There's just one outstanding issue to the 2025 listings. As you can see, everything's sort of that's green is green and been pre-ordered and what have you. And it leaves us with the listing in red at the top there, Chairface, which we still haven't got a feffing clue what it is, other than the price point being a figure and pet price point. Excuse me. Although that price point has probably gone up now, hasn't it? In any case, the only other thing, so we don't know what that is, not a clue. Will it still happen before the end of the year? Possibly. Will we find out what it is? Not a friggin' clue. Scott has said, I saw a panel for Marvel and Star Wars at Luca, but no action brands. Maybe they just haven't kind of announced it yet, or maybe Hasbro are just there in general and they're not doing anything for G.I. Joe. I'll have to get the official confirmation, because it might be the case. It might just be Star Wars and Marvel at Luca. That's a possibility, isn't it? That's in Italy, by the way, the LucaCon one. And then, of course, we've got the yellow listing there, which is the only outstanding thing that we're aware of, and that is, of course, the Arctic Assault Hiss with driver. Don't have the internal code word for that one yet, but that's almost certainly going to be on the other page for in hand in 2026, because I don't see that being ready in time. Do you guys? No. So I'll probably move that one over once we get the official kind of like info on it. But it does look like that is going to be a winter made to order pre-order, and then we'll see how it goes from there. I'm actually really excited for the Arctic Assault Hiss. I think it's like my favorite version of the Hiss is the Arctic Hiss, and I genuinely feel like I wish I'd had some sort of sway in it, but I don't. I think I've just got really lucky here. Like, for me, the Arctic Hiss may even edge out the Eco Warriors Septic Tank, which I think is amazing. But I love something about the Arctic Hiss that just does it for me, and way more than the OG Hiss, way more than any other Hiss tank. I would say the Hiss 2 is actually quite high up on my list as well. I really love the Hiss 2. I love the shape. I love the style of the troop building, troop carrying aspect. Yeah, there's some really. I've got some really eclectic tastes when it comes to the Hiss tank, because I know everyone else just loves the regular Hiss tank, but the Arctic Hiss has got. I love the different weapon system, the racks with, like, the kind of like the wrap on one side and the little kind of rack on the other side to have stuff going. I just love that. I've always thought that was really interesting and fun. And yes, Sean, the rear cargo troop area does open. There's pictures of everything of it open, with a different seat color inside. It's like a tan color interior, which is really nice. Like, kind of like, some sort of like really high fancy leather. But does the Arctic Hiss squirt water and change colors? No, Michael, it does not. I will also add, I love the subtle digital camo that they've applied to certain aspects, certain panels going down like the middle section of the tank as well. I think it's really nice. Sean, go check out Hiss Tank. Go find their most recent booth images, and you'll see a ton of the Hiss Tank from the back with the doors open and everything. It's really cool. Lots of different ones. In fact, you go to our Facebook page, scroll down, and just go through the images that we posted, because I'm pretty damn sure I posted the open entrance backy ones. They need to do the red Hiss. Crimson Guard need a Hiss too, says Scott. That would be amazing. I'm glad. I'd gladly buy you an Arctic Hiss in exchange for your HasLab Hiss. I'm not giving my other Hiss away, Michael Bird. Not a chance. But I appreciate the attempt that you went for. Then I hadn't seen the interior shots. Go check them out, Sean. They're amazing. It looks great. Just to see a different color seat in there is really cool, and the rack is still in there as well. The weapons rack. Twisted says, insane on a personal level. I have all but 3 on this list in hand or ordered. No, that is nuts, isn't it? Hoping for a septic tank version myself, says Sean. Well, they'll get there in like 10 years' time. Did we ever confirmation on the electronics missing? Yeah, I don't think the Arctic Hiss has the electronics. No, I think they've used. So this is going to open a can of worms, isn't it, Max? I believe it's just because they've used a regular Hiss to, mock up a Arctic Hiss. So that's why everything is on it. I don't believe it's going to have the electronics. I do believe it's going to have the troop carrying aspect. So there you go. Maybe they leave it. Maybe they leave some space in there for you to put in your own electronics. Maybe. I don't know if that's even worth doing. Anyway, 2025. There you go. Done. 2026. Oh, look, we've got green already. Yes, we've got more green. Lifeline, Night Viper, Hit and Run, Big Lob, and Mole Rat now are all pre-ordered. Everything is fine with the world. And now we move on to all the next stuff to enjoy. So over New York Comic Con, of course, we did find out that the Cobra La Royal Guard was coming and we could unlock that listing. And we found out that they were name dropped, they name only revealed the female Crimson Guard, Crazy Legs, and Zap. And we know that those 3 are retro carded figures, as you can see on the listings right there. Of course, we already knew Iceberg was coming. That was a name only reveal from a while back, and he locks in there with Hippocampus. And he's going to be towards, so that would be a reveal at Yojo June time, I want to say, because the next group of 5 below your green lifelines and hit and runs and what have you, that group of 5 figures will be shown off and revealed at the beginning of 2026. Then the middle, Yojo June, is that next wave. And then there's 3 listings there, but there probably will be more to be added to this list. But yeah. Scott says, I thought Emily said it will be 30 days to pre-order once it launches, but won't ship till a year later. Yep, I think she did say that. Did anyone say any different there, Scott? Did I say any different there? I'm not sure. I missed some comments, so maybe you were talking to someone else in the listings, but I don't think I said anything about the. Are you talking in respect to it coming out in 2026? That makes more sense. Yeah, that makes a lot more. Yeah, that's exactly. You're exactly right. I know it's coming out next year, and it should be on this list for sure. Yeah, so Iceberg, Hippocampus, and then Taurus and Red Dog, Johnny 2-pack over there. So I would be surprised if we don't see, at least Taurus and Red Dog by the end of the month. I'd be really surprised not to see them. Anyway, that's the listings. Now, the name-only reveals are currently so. Iceberg, Crazy Legs, Zap, Taurus, Red Dog, and the female Crimson Guard. And hopefully we'll get a few more for MCM and Luca, because they're so close together, it's going to be similar. And of course, digital renders wise has changed dramatically now, hasn't it? Just the Arctic Assault Hiss with the Cobra La Royal Guard. That is all we have currently for digital renders to work with. Right then, one last thing to do before I go, and that is to plug some t-shirts. So we are doing full force tees. This is the start of the kind of merch train that we're going to get on board. Now, this is a pre-order for between now and October 31st. Okay, so we will be closing these pre-orders on Halloween. So we've got at the moment currently, and this is just the start of things, we will be growing our merchandise into things like hats and sweatshirts and hoodies and other things, stickers, patches, grenades, rocket launchers. I'm just kidding, I'm not Destro. In any case, we have the grey, black and white t-shirt options with the full color logo, and we have the green, blue and red with the one color logo option. So that is what we are doing. You can access these obviously on codenameiowa.com. and their shop, and you can find the little Full Force thing, or you can just go straight to the Full Force link in the description below under Full Force Tees, or you can do whatever you want. You can search for it yourself. You can find it multiple places. You can just ignore this and do whatever the hell you want. Either way, yeah, you can get t-shirts if you want. So like I said, they will be ending pre-orders on the 31st of October, and they should go out in November. It does say on posts and exactly what date they go out, but there you go. Anyway, yes, a hat will happen. That's definitely going to happen, and almost certainly patches to make up for not having any patches in the Snowcat. Right then, guys, thank you so much for joining me on tonight's episode. We talked about Super7 mainly. There you go. We talked about the Classified series and the pre-orders that dropped today, and we talked about my very own t-shirt company that I'm starting. In any case, thank you very much. I will be back. What is it? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, isn't it? I'm sure I'll be back probably tomorrow as it happens. I want to do some unboxings because it's getting ridiculous at the moment, and I want to do like a live unboxing of some of the bigger stuff, maybe the Ore Striker. Maybe I'll do an Ore Striker MMS combo so that I can see them together. That'd be kind of fun to do, wouldn't it? Okay, I'll do something like that. In any case, I will be busy as AF for the next couple of weeks, it would appear. In any case, have a great bloody awesome evening for the rest of this Tuesday, and who knows, I may see you in the week. Stay fresh, cheese bags, and as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3, Full Force. My fingers can't count. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, Full Force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.